and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby, and for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, the Dauphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dauphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and England are through to the Euros semi-final. Nobody saw that coming after the Serbia game, and certainly not after every other game. But here we are. England have gone through. Rotherham have also started pre-season, so we'll cover the 7-0 victory, which obviously means it's an easy 46 wins over the coming season in League One. It's logical. So we'll cover all that and anything else that we can find that is tenuously Rotherham United related or Euros related. Mick's back. How are we doing, Mick?
All good, mate. Thank you. All good. Thank you very much. Are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, my voice has gone a little bit, but again, that's Saka's fault.
I can tell that's all that screaming about Alexander-Arnold's penalty, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But them Scousers again, can't we? So it's fine. Danny's back. How's Danny doing?
I'm doing all right. I've currently got a lovely drink. It's made from orange extract and Italian tears, so it's very nice.
Fair enough. And Ben's back. How are you doing, Benjamin?
Hello.
Okay, cool. We've got a new person who Ben looks like now, by the way. Nobody else knows. We were watching the Formula One earlier as they were interviewing Lando Norris. My daughter said, "Oh, it's Ben." Not Ben.
Very good.
Yeah, because Cameron Prison shaved his beard and whatnot. We've got a new one for you, Ben.
I look not like Lando Norris, but
I'm not having that. I can't.
It's your crap facial hair, mate. That's what it is. He grows a beard as well as you, I think. So here we are. Martin Holland's with us, as is Michael Carnell. YouTube user Kenneth Bobbs. Harry says 7-0. We're winning a lot. Absolutely, we are. Matt Wainwright says got him on while on a long M1 run back down to Pompey. It's a trek and half that. Chris Page with us, as is Damien Cole. Says evening, guys, all England, and John Morrell's with us as well. Shelley says, hang on, lads, England actually won on penalties. Yes, we won. For the third time in 4 tournaments, England have made it through to a semi-final. We'll hope for one better, but that in itself, Mick, before we talk about the game, because a lot to cover from the game, that in itself is, you have to take you back to 2006 or even 1990 out of 2000. Yeah. If someone offered you 3 semi-finals in 4 tournaments, you wouldn't believe your luck, would you, if that was the offer?
No, I wouldn't believe my luck. I would have took it with both hands and run away laughing. Shoved it up my jumper and run away laughing, mate. So, yeah. It's great. It's good. It's excellent. It's not been an easy ride, but no, it's like we'd all have took it, wouldn't we? Without a doubt. Yeah,
I agree. You're living in golden times, Danny. You don't remember you barely remember the tough times prior to these wins. You and Ben can't. I can't believe you're watching England, you lot.
I can just about remember how bad England were in in the noughties. Just because I used to watch it with my dad quite a lot when I was round at his. And the main one that sticks in my mind is Frank Lampard getting robbed of that goal against Germany. And that was the quarterfinals of the 2010.
Last 16 of the
2010.
That was typical England. We didn't really get past that round.
No, but I vaguely remember like Euro 2008, which I don't think England qualified for.
No.
So I vaguely remember that. But yeah, sweet times at the minute. I mean, we can criticise Southgate and his tactics and his substitutions until the cows come home, but unfortunately, he just somehow gets the job done. He has to be the luckiest man in football because it's not the prettiest to watch, but he gets the job done.
Yeah. John Morrell. Yeah, you haven't had to watch David Batty with England trying to take a penalty. We were talking about it last night with friends I was watching it with. Back in 2004, Jamie Carragher took a penalty in the first 5. This is where we've come to.
How times
Yeah,
have
Ben.
changed.
I know exactly. Ben, you'll be the same boat as Danny. That other than Iceland, you don't really remember many bad times with England, I guess.
Yeah, Iceland. That's it, really. That's all I've ever seen. Really, the bad times. I'm very lucky in terms of Rotherham and England. I've seen very good times. I'm yet to see the bad times. So, good luck, charm, I guess.
I suppose we can look at it that way. England should employ you. Yeah. We'll talk about this game in a minute, but let's talk about the penalties. Because again, it's I think you would have thought England would win a penalty shootout as comfortable as you can be, really, in a penalty shootout. The highlight for me has got to be the Saka penalty, because if you go back 3 years, and obviously what happened in 2021, again, we said with the friends I was last night. For those that remember, it was a bit of a Stuart Pearce moment. Stuart Pearce in 1990 took a penalty in the World Cup semi-final, missed it, and then 6 years later, back at home in England, put himself up for another penalty, scored this time. There's the iconic celebration from Stuart Pearce as well. It had that kind of redemption arc to it, Mick. I felt for Saka, and it was amazing. Yeah,
it did. It did, and it's great. It's great for lad, and just to see him, he's like it was like a little 7-year-old when he turned around with that smile on his face, weren't he? After putting that away. I'm really pleased for him. It takes some balls to stand up and be counted like that after you've missed one in such high pressure circumstances. It shows that he's a proper man, isn't he? He really has sort of just stand up and be counted. Really pleased for him. It seems like such a nice lad as well. Obviously, we don't know, but he just comes across as such a genuinely nice, down to earth lad. I couldn't be more pleased for him. So pleased for him.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Danny. For 3 years ago, we were all hurt as Saka was. That's the thing we generally get this in club football. You don't often get it in international football, but we've as England fans kind of come on this journey the last 3 years, and obviously scored the goal in normal time, which we'll maybe come into in a minute as well. But Saka is seems like one of the most likable characters of the 2018, or was it 2020, where he's on the unicorn in the swimming pool and things like that. But yeah, I'm just absolutely buzzing for Saka to get back, and hopefully he's got another moment or two left of the tournament.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Saka strikes me as obviously he would have been hurt by what happened at the last Euros, but like you said, the Stuart Pearce similarity is there for all to see. And Saka strikes me as a lad who picks himself up and goes, right, I'm going to do better, and he has done. And to say he played out of position against Switzerland as well as more of he was on the right back, I think he was.
Right wing back, which was
right wing back. But he still did really well, and he adapted well to the changes that we made after the Switzerland goal. And it's a great finish from Saka as well. The keeper has no chance of seeing it with all the bodies, and it just clips the post on the way in. Beautiful goal. And yeah, I'm chuffed for him. Absolutely chuffed to bits for him, because I think he's younger than me, Saka. I think is he like 22-ish?
Must be a bit older. He's still relatively young.
I think he was 19 at the last Euro, so I think he's about 21, 22-ish now, I think.
22, yeah. 23 in September.
So for a lad to have got that much pressure on his shoulders, both at club level and international level, he's doing a bloody good job, isn't he? Fair play to him.
In my head, and it seems like he's been around for such a long time, I assumed he was like a mid to late 20s kind of guy. You've got Bellingham, who was 20, Saka, who's 22, Foden, who's about similar age as well. Then the next big moment, it's not a big moment, but they're all big moments, Ben. They're all big penalties. But Ivan Toney taking centre stage. The absolute balls of that man to take a no look penalty to take it is just incredible, and he's a penalty specialist, I suppose.
Yeah, but you say that like that's his first time he's ever done that.
No, absolutely. To do it again.
That's how he's take penalties. That's just a normal penalty to him. So yeah, it's impressive, but it's not. He's not done that for the first time. You know what I mean? He knows how to do that. He's done that his whole career. What?
The pressure on that penalty is bigger than any penalty he's ever taken.
Yeah, 100%. But it's not his one thing that he's done magically. But it is a good penalty. It is a good penalty. I think Palmer deserves more credit. First penalty take always deserves the most credit. To go up there and smash it in from first penalty after not playing 90 minutes.
Yeah.
120, sorry. Not playing the whole game, only just come on. I think the Palmer deserves more credit.
Yeah. Are you going to give Tony any credit, Mick, or is it just there's Roy Keane down here just done his job kind of vibe?
He's done his job, yeah. But consider the ramifications for him and for England, and he missed that by being whatever you want to call it. If that's how he always takes his penalties, then fair enough. But it's not. This is not right. It's not right, is it? If he misses that by being a smart ass.
But he's not being smart ass.
Well, I don't know.
He is.
He's not doing it to show off at all. That's not the reason for it. The reason for it is watching the keeper. He's not being a smart ass.
That's fine, but you're putting more pressure on yourself to strike the ball right, to strike the ball properly in the right place. You put yourself a lot more pressure on yourself. I get that, I understand it, and if that's how he takes his penalties, like I said right at the beginning of what I said there, that's fine. That's not an issue. If that's done as a bit of a look at me kind of thing, then it's wrong. But listen, bang it, put it back in there. Jobs are good, and we're not going to complain about it, are we? If he misses, different story though, isn't it? I would argue.
Can you imagine if he'd have missed and we'd have lost?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been worth it. But it's about trusting your technique.
Can we go back to that? It's not like a showing off trick. That's how he takes penalties. That's just like anybody else picking a spot and going. That's his technique.
Yeah, but I think the point is that it adds a variable into it that for us as amateurs is an unnecessary problem. You've got to know whether. But I know that I'm aware the ball hasn't moved, but you've got to know where the ball is to still strike the ball in exactly the right place without looking at the ball.
If you measure your run up, is that going to change? Is the ball going to move?
No, it's absolutely not. No, but everything's got to be pinpoint.
Yeah, but when you're at that level, it don't matter. He's kicked. You know how many times he'll kick the ball, a stationary ball? Honestly, that's his technique.
It's still impressive, isn't it?
It's still very impressive. Anybody else missing?
His technique is very impressive.
It is. But that's his technique. And if he would have missed, I don't think he would have been slated any more than anybody else who missed.
Oh, he would have done. The son would have had a field day with it.
Yeah, but
listen, like I said, if that's how he normally takes his penalties for everybody else, no issue with it whatsoever. None at all. Because he, like Ben said there, he knows what he's doing, and it doesn't change. And Scott, I think, has mentioned in comments here, it's just his normal penalty routine. You don't change your routine, absolutely, 100%. It's all about muscle memory and all that sort of thing. No, I ain't got an issue with it. My issue, like I said, was if it's just done to show off, which it looks like it is, doesn't it? You know what I mean? On the face of it, that's how it looks. But listen, banged it away. Good lad. Well done. Good work.
Yeah.
I put a tenner on it.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the thing, the difference with this England team, Danny, than ever has been in the past, that when you go to a shootout, the team that's got the best technical players generally wins. It's not always the case, but it's generally the case. England have the best technical players. So although we were all nervous and we were all worried, I don't know about anybody else, but I had the confidence that those players, everyone that stepped up, you think, right, they've got this. They've either got the arrogance of Jude Bellingham and Cole Palmer, or they've got a technique in Ivan Toney and Trent as well. It was a perfect five people to go. Other than Harry Kane, who got taken off. It was a perfect five.
Yeah, it was. And the penalties that we took, they were never really in any doubt of being saved. Maybe Tony's was the closest the keeper got to them, but at the same time, he's only missed, like Scott says, only missed 3 out of 40 doing that technique, which is a very, I think, difficult technique to master, because you have to show the goalkeeper no intention whatsoever of which way you're going, but also at the same time, you have to unnerve the goalkeeper enough so that he waits long enough where he's not going to save it regardless of where you put it. But yeah, like I said, perfect 5 penalties. Trent's was the winning one, and that was a great penalty as well. They were all great, to be fair. But it's nice to have the rhetoric changed with England with penalty shootouts. You know, because the stigma is England never win on penalties, but I think we've won our last 3 now.
Oh, we lost against Italy.
Oh, lost against Italy.
3 out of 4, I think.
Yeah, so three out of 4, with potential redemption in a final if and when it comes to it. But they are shaking that rhetoric off their shoulders now. You know, imagine saying 20 years ago England are going to get a perfect 5 on penalties and go through quite easily against Switzerland on penalties. But for me, the biggest contributor to a penalty shootout is Jordan Pickford. He's unreal with saving penalties at major tournaments. Absolutely unreal.
Yeah, the stat is now that every time he's played in a penalty shootout for England, he's saved at least 1 penalty in every single shootout.
That's unreal. Penalties like the hardest thing to save as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And he's that good. That's unreal.
And I think that's massive, Ben. Obviously, we've had goalkeepers in the past who I didn't shoot. I mean, remember Josh Vickers at QPR in the penalty shootout, and he were never going to save one of those in a million years. That he didn't feel like, because he just kept going so early and because of one thing or another. Somebody like Jordan Pickford, you trust him. You just trust him to save. But if I were an Everton fan and went to a shootout, I'd be quite comfortable. It then takes a bit of pressure off your takers because you've got that trust in your keeper to at least help you out a little bit.
Yeah, you know, some keepers are brilliant at it. Some keepers are horrible at it. I mean, you look at what's his name, Martinez. You know, played for us and won a World Cup. He's phenomenal at saving penalties. You know, it's just some keepers are good at it, and Pickford's really good at mind games pre-penalty. So is that Martinez. I think that's a lot to do with penalty taking. It's trying to get in their heads, and some keepers can do it. Some keepers can't. Look at Petr Cech again, another one.
Yeah.
Can't score a penalty past him, but then you look at some other keepers. Like he said, Vickers. Some keepers just go too early, and some shootouts you think, oh yeah, just not nowhere near saving them. You know.
Yeah, I should have that Vickers obviously saved the Accrington penalty. A shootout penalty is different though for me.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, Switzerland decided to take the old England approach by putting their first 2 takers as central defenders, and I think when you get that it showed, sadly, for Switzerland. Certainly with the first one, it wasn't a particularly good penalty, but Pickford's got there. And that doesn't kind of matter. Obviously, Trent Mick is somebody that you don't like for reasons. But he did it, and I think Trent was the perfect number 5 penalty taker because, again, there's lots of question marks about Trent Alexander-Arnold for lots of different reasons. But the one thing you can't take away from him is his technique. His technique is one of the best techniques we've got in the squad in terms of striking a ball. And as soon as number 5 coming up, I was just as calm as I possibly could be because I genuinely thought there was no chance he was going to miss at the time, and God that he didn't miss.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great penalty, wasn't it? And as you point out, he's a very, very good dead ball striker, or striker of a dead ball, isn't he? You know, but yeah, I mean, it was certainly probably arguably the right person to come in on that 5th penalty. Well, he wasn't he? Because he absolutely nailed it. You know, so yeah. I mean, I don't know whether you've pointed it out on Twitter about my Paddy Power advert. I don't know why we call him Trent. I just assumed that we're going to call all the England players by the first name now.
With a Jude.
Yeah, we could be Jude and Harry and Jordan and Kieran and all these players have done really well. Kaya, great penalty from him. Yeah, like it.
Yeah. Ben, on Tony, would you be impressed if he took the penalty blindfold?
Me and Ivan.
Yeah, I would be because it's different. Because he's because I don't think he's just kind of giving the keeper the eyes. I think he's watching the keeper as well. So that's not fair. I'm
just asking if you think that's quite impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still got to have some peripheral to aim at. The net in his peripheral to aim at.
Yeah,
you know? Can't just blind him. He's got nothing to aim at. I reckon he would still strike the ball, but just no aim.
Yeah, but the net doesn't move. It's still the same net.
Yeah, but maybe then get him to do it.
Yeah, whenever England's watching, this is an easy bit of content for you England's YouTube channel. Ivan Toney taking blindfolded penalties. Or Brentford, because when he goes back to Brentford, if he goes back to Brentford. John Morell says it was more nervous watching Bellingham take a pen as he's never seen take one before. He didn't take him under 18s or the 21s. We had a bit of not an argument with my friends last night, Mick, but Jude Bellingham's main character syndrome. And again, because of that, he has got that. And I like that about a footballer. And again, I just knew he weren't going to miss because the main characters don't often miss unless you're Cristiano.
Yeah, obviously. And yeah, Bellingham is just he is the complete player, isn't he? He is. You know, he is almost the finished article at 22 or whatever.
20, I think.
21, whatever it is. Yeah. It's just outrageous. It is. And you know, we've on this podcast over the years, we've took Mickey out of John and other Birmingham fans, you know, when with about Jude Bellingham. And we've been proved wrong. We've been proved wrong massively. But he is the complete player, personality wise as well, and he imposes himself on the game as well. You know, I love him to bits, and I don't think that certainly wasn't a penalty that I was worried about with Bellingham, not at all.
No. I also like the post-match video that was picked up by Bellingham speaking to Akanji as well. Obviously, Akanji missed the penalty for Switzerland. I thought it was a nice touch from Bellingham going over and talking to him. I think they swapped shirts as well. But yeah. Shelley says, we talk about Rotherham, all-time Rotherham keepers, but in an England shirt, does Pickford come into the conversation? Not saying he's the best, but surely is it miles away? It's a good one, Danny. Obviously, there's keepers that we've never seen. You know, I've never seen Shilton and Banks and all these other ones. I've seen Seaman. But for me, Pickford he's got to be up there. He's got to be in the conversation for me because of what he's contributed to England. Even if he's just taking penalty shootout contributions. But he holds the record, I think, for the most clean sheets in a major tournament for England. He's always there. He's always available. He seems like a good character to have in the dressing room as well, which I think is as important. Pickford's got to be in the conversation now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you know, going back to mine and Ben's time with England, we don't really remember the noughties much, but the keepers we sort of had to contend with were like the back end of David James's career, Rob Green, Joe Hart, who was all right for England, but he definitely peaked after he was in the England squads, I think. Who else have we had in? And then Pickford sort of came onto the scene with not really much fanfare because it's like, oh, it's only Everton's keeper. But
Sunderland at
the time, yes, Sunderland and Everton. I mean, not the best rhetoric in an England shirt, but he's come on leaps and bounds so much, especially in an England shirt. I'd say he's better for England than he is for Everton. And he is up there as one of the best keepers in an England shirt. Probably within the top 10, I think. But he's definitely up there, and he just keeps getting better, which, you know, is amazing because there will be a time where he does retire from international football, but at least we're quite confident that he'll keep getting better and better through major tournaments with us, which is great. It's great to have a keeper that doesn't get picked just because he's good at club level, is a keeper that gets picked because we know he's good at international football. And that's why he will probably be in the England squad for a long, long time.
Yeah. The keepers can play forever.
He's one of the first names on the team sheet, both selection-wise and squad-wise, isn't he?
Yeah, I agree. Phil says Banks was favourite. Wishes says Shilton. John Morell says, hard to say for keepers yesterday because they didn't have the pressure of using their feet as much. He thinks they probably are better keepers, but Pickford's all-round game makes them stand out. I can't disagree with that. On the game, Ben, let's sort of go back, to this 120 minutes. So we changed formation. Saka at right wing back, Trippier at left wing back was an odd choice. I thought I don't think it played pan. I know Saka had a pretty good game and scored from cutting in, I suppose. But I still don't like it.
I didn't get it really. I didn't really get why they were kind of on the opposite sides. Trippier's played most of his career as a right wing back, and Saka started as a left wing back. So I don't really know why he swapped them. But he'll have had a plan. He'll have had a plan, and you've got to respect that. We will never find out, or we may never find out what it is. it's really hard to kind of when a manager does something like that, it's impossible to kind of, as a fan, to know what he's thinking, because there's so many different things and there's so many different variables that come into it. And I don't know. I mean, technically it works because Saka scored or whatever, and you can say whatever, but I don't know. I'm saying it's genius, absolute genius.
Yeah. If I was Southgate, I'd be saying, look, it worked, didn't it? I've got to do a semi-final again. But yeah, I thought the game was dull, Nick, but I thought England was significantly better. And I know the bar is right down here, but I thought England were much, much better than they had been. There were times, I know we didn't have many shots on target. I thought there were times where we looked threatening, other than a clearance by Xhaka in the first half. Mainoo certainly gets a shot on target, probably scores. And there's other couple of different bits. I thought largely we were in control of the game. I thought their goal came out of nowhere a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a really good assessment for me. I thought for the most part we controlled it, like you said, and we limited them to very few chances. So yeah, it was a better input. Some of the individual performances were significantly better. As a team, it was better. We look more comfortable with three at the back. Stones look more comfortable. I thought they all did. I was really impressed with Konza. I thought he was excellent, really, really good. And if Gay is back for the next game, then I'd probably just move Konza out to that left hand side and stick with the back three. You walk Stones and Gay, and then Konza out as on the left wing, as a left wing back, if you like. I'm assuming that's where he plays. I don't know. Or is he centre half? I don't know, whatever. But I thought we looked much more comfortable with the back three, and it allowed us that. It allowed the two wing backs to get forward more. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for that change. There are other changes I've made, but as a performance overall, I thought it was better. Not significantly better, but it was better. It's an improvement, and hopefully we'll get an improvement in the next game as well.
Yeah, this is what we talked about managing two tournaments, Danny. This is one of the things that nobody's going to sit here and defend England's performances throughout the previous 4 games. But it is about managing your tournament and making sure there is, even if it's a gradual improvement, making sure there is an improvement. And we are at the stage where there has been an improvement, and we did create more chances, not millions, but we created more chances because Switzerland are a solid team. Let's get it right. They're one of the most organised teams in the entire tournament. They lack quality, but they're very organised. So it's always going to be difficult. But we are improving. Holland is going to be a much more open game. They can't be as organised. They don't have the quality. They don't have the players to do that. So that gives me confidence that we'll hopefully see it might be a massive step, but maybe another step in the semi-final, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's good that you progress as the tournament carries on, isn't it? Rather than getting worse and worse. But yeah, Switzerland aren't there by mistake. I mean, they beat Italy quite convincingly. But then we beat them fairly okay. So Italy. But the game against Switzerland, we seem to manage it better in terms of individuals and working as a team. Like Mick says, we did do a lot better. But I think the management of the game was better as well. And like I said, that Switzerland's goal seemed to come out of nowhere. That was definitely a slip of concentration. They got in, and sometimes that goal goes wide or the keeper saves it. But we just got the unlucky end at stick where he's hit the ball correctly in what is effectively a scrap in front of the goal, and he scored it. But I do think the Netherlands game will show how good England are at managing games, or the lack thereof. That will be the game that shows one or the other. Because, like I said, Holland aren't there by mistake either. But they have had a bit of a shaky start to the tournament. But they are like England a bit. They are getting a bit better as it progresses. And I think it'll just come down to management and which team has progressed more of the two, I think. I don't think it'll be a 90 minutes affair, that's for sure. I think it will go to extra time, in my opinion, but I don't think it'll go to penalties. Someone will win it in 120, I think.
Fair enough. On Southgate, Ben, let's talk about it, because obviously Southgate's coming for a significant amount of stick. Some of it justified, some of it over the top. But now we have to sit here and say, right, this man is one of the best managers we've ever had. Three major tournaments, semi-finals, four. If you count the Nations League, which we don't, but you could count that as 4 semi-finals in tournaments over that period of time. He gets the job done. And if Harry Kane scores a penalty against France, then you could be talking about another one, because that was a very, very even game. When do we start, heaping praise on him, getting us to this stage? Again, 3 times is not an accident, is it?
No. He's England manager. He's going to get stick.
Yeah.
He's going to get stick. And like you said, with the Harry Kane, we're one missed penalty away from probably being in the World Cup final. Not discrediting Morocco, but I think we'd have beat Morocco.
Yeah.
World Cup final, who knows what happens, right? Yeah, he's a really good manager. He's done so well with England. Like you said, how many? 3 last 4 semi-finals? Probably, like I said, it should have been 4 and probably a final. A Euro final, 1 penalty shootout away from winning the Euros. It's a hard job. The pressure that comes with the England job is outrageous. It is absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And I think he's handled it really well. And I think he's done such a good job. I would keep him on.
Okay.
I would definitely keep him on, depending on what happens. If we get battered 5-0 by Netherlands, and I think we've got another story. But who else? Let's say we get rid of him after this tournament, or they part ways. Who's going to come in? Because if somebody comes in and then we get a round of 16, exit. We sack him and then we're back at square one, and it's wasted 2 years. International, to find a good international manager is so hard. Is so hard. And if he wants to stay on, I'd keep him for as long as he wants.
I probably would. To be fair, if I was him, I wouldn't stay on, because 4 tournaments of just absolute crap, isn't it? It would be more than enough for me. Bear in mind the success that he's had. YouTube user says too defensive for me, but I've got to come out in defensive side. Yeah, absolutely. But he is defensive manager, Mick. But I don't care. If we win this tournament and we scrape through another penalty shootout against Holland, and we scrape through another penalty shootout against Spain, and we stink it up, but we've won, couldn't care less. Major tournaments is about winning. I think over a 46-game season, I think it's slightly different. Over a 7-game tournament, it's all about getting through, and it's all about being successful. And he's got the tools to do it.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult, because we've talked about it on this podcast throughout the course of this tournament, how dull and boring and defensive and lacking in ambition some of the performances have felt. But we also said at the beginning of the tournament that you've got to grow into a tournament, and we always start off poorly, and we tend to get better as the tournament goes on. And lo and behold, we started off really poorly. We didn't really improve, but we've now started to improve a little bit when it comes to the business end. It's really hard at the beginning. It's really hard as a supporter, and I think, and I said this to us as and the Rotherham supporters that are in the comments here. After the 9 months that we've just endured, to then sort of roll over into a Euros and have to endure what essentially has been the same thing we've had for 9 months, it's been a really tough watch at times. I think it possibly, if your team had a decent season and played well, it might be a little bit more easy to take, albeit still not very easy, because it's a tough watch, but it's effective. And it's effective and proven to be effective over 2 or 3 tournaments, as you said, or 3 or 4 tournaments now. It works. And I don't know whether I like it or not, to be honest. I don't think I do, but we're in the semi-final and I like that. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go with that, really, if I'm honest. Yeah, I like it. I'll do it. I'll deal with it now. But I've moaned about it quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. I don't know. But then you look at other teams in this tournament, and again, we sit here again now with just the semi-finals and final to play, and there hasn't been a memorable game, I don't think, realistically. I think they've all been really
a terrible tournament.
I think if the best we've had is probably about bang average. I don't think we've had anything above bang average from a team at all.
Yeah.
Spain have looked all right, but the games that they've been in have been tedious, as you would expect with the style of play that they've got. So, yeah, it's not been a great tournament at all. So, you talk about England stinking it up. I'm not convinced that we are, to be honest. I just think we're just, meh, like the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's been a generally positive. John Morales mentioned Spain. I thought Spain were good in
they're all right.
stages. But when people talk about Southgate, and when a supporter of Southgate goes, yeah, but we beat Germany, people turn around and go, yeah, but it were a terrible Germany team. All right, it's 3 years later. They're no better realistically. I know they're at home, but it took them to extra time for Spain to get through, and they weren't massively convincing against Germany. I didn't think. So, and they've only beaten Georgia in last 16. They beat Italy. Oh, again, this is a terrible Italy team. They beat Croatia, which is a terrible Croatian team. Who else did they have in the group? Albania. So, are we saying that that's Danny?
Scotland.
Yeah, well, yeah. Germany beat Scotland, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I thought you were on about Germany.
No, but yeah, sort of. In a way, because Spain beat them in kind of way. So
right, yeah.
that's again. I go back to the Southgate. If we'd had Spain's run to this semi-final, Danny, everybody would be saying, it's an easy draw, that. Easy. There's no wonder you've got through the semi-final. You haven't beat anybody good. Well, you know what I mean? It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you look at England's side of the draw, like the country stereotype of how they have approached football in the past, you would say England's sides of the draw is easier. But in my opinion, there's no easy side to a draw because you can only beat what's in front of you. I saw a comment earlier saying they were more worried about Turkey in the semi-finals. Yeah, I agree, because Turkey have shown up this tournament and they've got results where no one expected them to. But now it's got to the crunch time, and it's 4 countries who have historically and recently been very good at football. Like Holland's always been there or thereabouts. They sort of felt like they were sort of in the same position that England are in now, but in the 70s and the 80s. Like the Holland team back then was amazing, but they never won anything. They won the Euros. They won the Euros, but they never did anything major in World Cups in terms of lifting the trophy. Maybe it's England's time to have that dabble with the Euros like the Netherlands did. France have won World Cups and Euros, same with Spain. Spain are the only team to have defended the Euros. So we're now into the final 4 of the big countries, but I think it is still time's gone by where we still have that bit of anxiety with England's, because they've had great teams and they've done nothing. But just to go back to the thing with the way Southgate approaches football, I think his system works if it brings results. And on paper, yeah, it has. It's brought England semi-final or better in 3 of the last 4 tournaments. Like Ben said, bit of pot luck, and we could be looking at even more than that, but we lost against France. But I think it has to be a bit of crunch time for the way he approaches it. Like if he gets a trophy, he will stay 100%. Because I think if he wins it, then you're getting results. But if you aren't getting the main result, which is to win a major tournament at international level, I do think they will twist it and try somebody better. And if it don't work out, then it don't work out. We've had a bit of fun, off we go. But I do think this potentially could be Southgate's time. We'll see what happens with the Netherlands game and then come back to me. But if we get to the final, I think we'll win it. I really do. But we just have to get there first. And so far, we are doing things right to get there. We're just not doing it attractively.
Yeah, I agree. I just be on Southgate. I think Southgate's gone no matter what. I think the way he talks and the way that the media talk, we know how leaky news is from the England camps. I think Southgate's on his way out one way or another. I mean, it'd be amazing for him to sail off into sunset with European Championship in his back, but that'd be amazing. But either way, I think he'll be off. But Ben, let's enjoy it. How do you feel? England at another semi-final. This is what you dream of. So to get to the business end of a tournament is where you want to be. It's where you want to be involved in. And Wednesday night, it's going to be win, lose, or draw. We can't draw, obviously. Win or lose. It's going to be a historic game for the country again, because we're at a major tournament semi-final again.
Yeah, it's another progression. I know we got to the final last time, but it's generational progression. We're doing better. We're so much better than we were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just massive for the country. I want to be in the final. If we go out, I'll be disappointed.
Are we at the stage now, Ben, where if we lose now, we're at an acceptable stage to go out? You're not going, oh, I'm happy about it, but you kind of go, oh, we've got to semi-final though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's so like Croatia. I know it's a World Cup, but it's different. It was like, oh, went out, but wow, World Cup semi-final. Yeah. And Italy kind of felt like that. I was so close. It was horrible, but got to a final, blah, blah, blah. But now it is kind of at that stage where it's like, I think it depends who you play. I really do think it depends who you play because we got knocked out to France in the quarters and it's like, you know, it's France. So I think it depends who he plays. And because it's Holland and because they're not as good as they once were, you know, maybe 10 years ago when they played Spain in the World Cup final, I think it will be a bit of, can't believe we've gone out there, you know. I do really think that because I think we should be beating Holland, but it's international football. But if you want to go player for player, I know it's not about player for player, but got the better squad, we should theoretically win. I think we should win, and I'd be really disappointed. I'd be really disappointed if we lose in normal time. If we go out on penalties, it's somewhat, you know, it's a bit different. But if we lose in normal time or extra time, I think there would be a lot of disappointment.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, Holland, this is, I mean, they're 7th in the world, I think. Yeah, 7th in the world rankings prior to the tournament. With the pitch soccer's FIFA World Rankings. But
bear in mind, they took World Cup winners to 120 minutes. Right? They took Argentina to 120 minutes.
Yeah, they did. Sorry, yeah. They got penalties. Went to penalties, didn't it? Yeah.
They're not awful, by the way, but we should be. You
shouldn't be losing to a team that's got Wout Weghorst in there, should you? To be fair,
but they took Argentina to 120 minutes. It's World Cup winners to penalties. You know?
Yeah, true. But they've not had a great tournament, Mick. I know they're in the semi-finals, but they finished 3rd in the group, so we're very lucky to get through because I don't think third place should be going through. You then play Romania in the last 16. I know Romania had a good group stage, but if somebody offered you Romania in the last 16, you'd go, yeah, I'll take that. I'm really happy with that. And if somebody said to you, you got Turkey in last 8 in quarterfinals, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take Turkey. So you've got to be careful about Holland because they have got good individual players. They've got Van Dijk, they've got Ake, they've got Depay on his day as a good player. They've got Weghorst who can be a massive handful. But man for man, England are a better team than them. So that you haven't got to win the game, obviously, but John Morell, if you were offered Netherlands in the semi-final at the start of the tournament, you'd rub your hands together. And that's how I'm approaching it. Holland in the semi-final. Yeah, that's a really, really good. Who we could have got, that's a great draw.
Yeah, it is. And they strike me a little bit, they're a little bit Belgium-esque in the way that they are almost a dysfunctional team. You know? They don't seem like it's, you know, they've got a lot of individuals, all of whom it feels from the outside and looks from the outside, all want to play their own game and do their own thing and be their own men. And the team doesn't seem to gel much like the Belgium team. You know, they don't seem to be able to achieve the sum of the parts, if you like. So, but it's a one-off game, isn't it? And to pick up on what you said, I think to go out of the semi-finals now, as we played really well to get here, battered teams and done really, you know, or sort of, certainly, I don't mean battered them necessarily scoreline wise, but outplayed teams to get here. Then you go, yeah, all right, fair enough. It's a one-off game and we've gone out. But the manner in which we've approached the games, it wouldn't sit very well at all. It wouldn't sit very well to go out at the semi-final stage anyway. No. It would ever. But the quality that Holland have got, that Netherlands have got, the quality that we've got, as you just alluded to there, yeah, it will be a disappointment to go out to them. Very much so, given the fact, like I said, that they just feel a bit dysfunctional for me. So, and I watched the game last night against Turkey. I thought Turkey were very, very unlucky, really unlucky, not to get something out of the game. at least get something out of the game. I thought they were excellent, and I think, as John mentioned earlier on in the comments there, out of those two teams at the beginning of last night, I would have preferred Turkey. At the end of that game, I was quite glad that Netherlands won, because I think Turkey would have been a much more difficult proposition. Personally, I'm saying that now. Come 8 o'clock on Thursday morning when I'm going to work and thinking, God, I can't believe we went out to them last night. Might be different, but I think I would have taken Netherlands out of the two, and for that reason, I just feel that they're just not quite. They don't quite gel as a team for me.
I agree. Scott Kent says they had a chance that Turkey had the other night. Surprised they even beat them. Very vulnerable crosses, which is
surprising considering they've got best defensive goals.
So Van Dijk and Ake.
Yeah, they took off, didn't they? The lad who scored for Netherlands seemed to me to be the standout player, standout defender. So there are a couple of funny moments in that game. I'm not sure who the number 24 is for Holland, for Netherlands. Looks a bit like one of Proclaimers. Not sure which one. I had to go off injured when he. Had to go off injured when he the Turkey player headbutted his foot. That was very funny. But yeah.
Ross Edwards says, "Will we win the Euros with Tony Pulis football?" I don't care. If we win Euros, I couldn't care how we played, to be honest with you.
If we win the Euros, we need a bank holiday.
Yeah, for about 6 weeks.
Let's face it, pub trade's going to do well if we win Euros, isn't it?
Very well.
People won't go home.
John Morell, if we can't deal with a Burnley forward and Depay, we don't deserve to get to the final. That is absolutely right. That is absolutely right. Let's see what happens. I am positive as I possibly can be, but I'm absolutely certain it will be one hell of a stressful night again.
Yeah.
As much like Rotherham, we don't do things easy, do we? There we are. Right. Anything else on England? Euros you want to mention?
Doing it the hard way makes it more fun.
Can we touch on Harry Kane? My favourite subject on Harry, not Harry Kane. Harry. My wife mentioned this during the game the other night, having watched the Portugal game, and I've seen some conversation about it on X today with John was involved, and there's a little touch of the Ronaldos going off with Harry Kane, the undroppable player that is essentially almost creating a hindrance for his team. Kane's nowhere near as bad as Ronaldo. Ronaldo is just a complete waste of space as far as Portugal are concerned. And he is. Now. I'm not saying it in the past, but now he's completely ineffective, and everything has to go through him. What we've got with England is a very similar situation where, we need to find Harry Kane. We need to find Harry Kane, and where do we find Harry Kane? Either in defence or out on wing, but not where he should be in the box. But we have to protect him. It feels, and he has to be the focal point for the team. And he's just not performing. He's not performing, and the reason he's not performing is because he's not where he should be when he should be there. For masses of the time in a game, we need to sort this out. He either sits on the bench or he learns how to play where he should be playing. So many times yesterday against Switzerland, we're looking to get the ball in the box, and there's nobody in there because Harry Kane stood next to the bloke who's trying to cross the ball. It's been we need. For me, it's something that needs to be sorted out. It's just not right, and John's mentioned it in the comments there. I think he is holding the team back. I genuinely do. So,
fair enough. Sam Darby says it's not Kane's fault. I think Southgate tactics. Thought he scored 40 goals from him. I'm with Sam. What he's doing, he's been asked to do. Clearly, we're not putting balls in the box for him to win. He's not getting those challenges. He's not being able to get any challenge in the box. We're not creating anything for him. So what's he meant to do? The opportunity's
I've
not
not
there
seen
for
him play for Bayern. I've not seen him play for Bayern. I'll stick my hand up, so I don't know. But I'm damn sure when he is playing for Bayern, he's not playing just in front at back four. You know, I'm sure he's not playing next to Saka or.
He's coming there because nobody's getting him up front, so he's having to come deep.
Why are they not giving it him up front? Because he's not there.
But he is to
He's
start
not
with.
there. You know what I mean? There's no outlet with Harry Kane any longer. There is none. Because he's never where he should be. Watch the game on Wednesday night. Go back and watch the other games that we've played in this tournament. He's 95% of the game, he is not in the position that he should be in. He's somewhere else, trying to impact the game, trying to get involved, and it completely screws up the team. You know, we're all trying to play around him and play through him. I know he's done so well. He's been an amazing player, an amazing goal scorer. However, in order for him to score goals, he's got to be near the goal, and he's got to be given the ball near the goal, and he's not, because he's never there. That's my view, and I think it just we need to address the situation. Gareth Southgate needs to address that situation. We need somebody playing on that last man because it stretches the pitch, it creates a space.
There is no last man because they're so deep. When every team we're playing against are so deep, you can't play. Watkins will be pointless there because what Watkins is amazing at is getting in behind defence and making that run. If you want to drop Kane, you'd bring Tony in. That's the swap for me. I don't think waiting to play against Watkins.
That's between a rock and a hard place, that, isn't it? You know what I mean? In terms of who do I want, Kane or Tony? Well, neither, if I'm honest. However, I want somebody who's going to stay up front, who's going to stay in a position where they can receive the ball, where they can hold the ball up, where we can stretch the play a little bit, where we've got an outlet. I don't want somebody who's a striker playing in front of my back five. I don't want them playing out on wing when they should be in the box. And we've talked about Harry Kane for years and what a really good player he is and what a fantastic goal scorer he is. And I'm criticised for this a few times, both here at home and elsewhere. As a footballer, as a striker, he's very, very good. But I genuinely don't believe his footballing intelligence. It's just not there. Because he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. Whether the manager tells him, and there's no way Gareth Southgate is saying to Harry Kane, drop deep as far as defence and come and fetch ball. He's not saying to him, get yourself out wide and go and collect ball from out wide. He's not telling him to do that. Harry Kane's desperately trying to get involved in the game. And it's just not happening. It's not happening for him at all. And it's poor on Kane's part, in my view. So
if that was the case, Southgate would have coached him to do something different by now. Southgate's clearly very happy with what he's doing.
Yeah,
it's clearly a tactic.
The point I'm making, in my view, and it is only my view, is causing England a problem because Harry Kane is the focal point. Has been the focal point for England for a long time, much like Christine has been for Portugal. You know, and that's the Ronaldo part of it at Portugal. There is more of a. It's a far more extreme version of what I'm trying to say here. Oh, yeah, nevertheless, you know, it's a fantastic goal scorer, but not from back four and not from on wing. So either play where you're supposed to be playing, or let's have him off and let's put somebody else in who's going to play there. Just my view.
Just to bounce off what Mick said there, if you look at when Kane starts the game, he does start in the correct position, but as it progresses, he drops further and further back. Because, like you say, he wants to be involved. But Kane, in past tournaments, has been very patient with waiting for his chance and waiting for the ball. There's been some times where he's not touched it for the first half an hour or so, because that's the sort of centre forward that he is. But it's almost like he's lost his sense of being patient, and he just wants to be in the middle and getting involved with everything. So I agree with Mick, to be fair. He needs to be told to stay high. And I think that's why he's not finishing games now, because he just drops back 2B, so we switch it. And so I'm in the Mick camp with this one. I think Kane is a bit of a shackle at this point. And if we play someone like Tony or Watkins, where they do make those runs, then you can sort of play into the more front three aspects. We've changed tactic because Gáhi's been suspended. Let's not beat around the bush with that. We changed tactic because we were forced to. But if we were to go back to the tactic we used at the beginning of the tournament, you can't have Kane in the middle. It's going to have to be Watkins because he feeds on the balls into the box and won't drop too deep. And it's great having an extra option in midfield. Don't get me wrong. However, when you've got no option up front either, it sort of defeats the object of it. Maybe he's trying to go into the middle to organise it a bit as captain, but then if you've got the goal scorer as captain, it's like maybe give it to someone in midfield, but then you can't have someone else other than Harry Kane as captain because he has now cemented that. So it's a headache. But I agree with Mick. Either tell him to be actually up front as a centre forward, or switch it.
For me, Kane's not playing any different than he ever has for England. He's always dropped deep. That's always been Harry Kane's game. Always. The country was having the same
he used to drop deep, but not stay there. Whereas now he stays there.
We were having these exact, not us, but the country was having the exact same conversation for the first 3 group games in Euro 2021. He went on and scored about 4 goals in knockout stages. Didn't change his game. He didn't do anything different.
He did it when he was up front, when he was where he should be.
Well, obviously he's scored from the back, but the way he's playing, the position he's taking up,
but we don't go back there. We've got enough players to deal with that, who are better at it than he is, with respect.
But we were doing this 3 years ago, and he still had an amazing tournament.
He didn't stay there. That's the point.
He did.
No, he didn't. He kept going. He kept going forward. Whereas now he stays there and waits for the ball and doesn't get involved.
Since Mourinho came into Tottenham, his game's changed, and this is what he's done since Jose Mourinho brought him at Tottenham, and it's improved his game tenfold because he's much better. We can argue with this thing, but that's down to Southgate. That's not down to Harry Kane. That's down to Southgate and what Southgate's asking him to do. A striker's not going to not going to get deep unless he's either asked to do it or told to not told to stop doing it. This isn't on Kane; it's on Southgate.
Or he stays there because he hasn't got the pace to get up front as quickly as he did in Euro 2020.
Honestly, for me, it's exactly the same performances. It's exactly the same for me. I don't see a difference. Ben, do you want to add anything on this?
I mean, that's Kane's whole. That's what he's done. He's done that all Tottenham. He's done that all his time at Tottenham and had Son running beyond him. And that's how they got to the Champions League final.
Yeah,
he's done that all his career. He's on Southgate. He's on Southgate for not. If it's part of his tactic, then fair enough. But if it's not, it's on Southgate for not emphasising that that's not what he wants him to do.
Yeah,
we'll never know.
We'll never know. And we'll have to agree to disagree because we'll never agree. We'll never agree, so it's fine.
John Morell's latest comment sums up my argument. He's just not pacey enough to get back into the attack after dropping deep.
He's never had pace.
Yes, but he's 3 years older than last time. He would have been quicker 3 years ago.
It's marginal. This is not Theo Walcott we're talking about. We're lightning fast and now he's not. Harry Kane's never, ever, ever, ever had pace.
Then why is his average position
game intelligence that sets him apart? His intelligence is off the scale, but I think it's tactical. I think it's just tactical rather than Harry Kane because he's such an intelligent footballer. It's down to Kate. It's 100% on Southgate, but it's working. We're through the semi-final.
Have we moved on to somebody else here? When we talk about intelligent football, who are we talking about here? Oh, come on.
I mean, you don't become England's record goal scorer by being not being football intelligent.
It depends. It's about your job, though. It's about anyway. We've gone on and on. About
anyway,
let's
move on.
I don't agree with you. We'll talk. We'll take this up afterwards.
Yay.
We won't. We're always going to go and have a lie down.
Yeah. Let's move on to Rotherham very briefly because the pre-season campaign kicked off on Friday night with the 7-0 thrashing of Parkgate. Danny, you are a man on the ground. The only thing that's really interesting and worth talking about is the formation. It's Parkgate. The results basically irrelevant. What do we reckon? 4-1-3-2 is roughly what you think we set up for. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it because I was in the end behind the goal. It's actually nice and covered because I thought it was going to rain, but it didn't anyway. And seeing the way Rotherham set it up, there's definitely more of a a distributor at CDM, if you like. And in the first half, it was Kelly. In the second half, it was Tahi. But there was very distinct one in front of the back four. And then there was definitely a front two. Couldn't really argue against it. Maybe there's like a slightly offset striker or whatever, but there was definitely two strikers on the pitch and in a two in front of a three in midfield. So we've sort of got wingers, but they're just like wide midfielders, not wingers, if you like. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses and how we utilise that and also change it when it isn't working. But I got the chance to speak to the Parkgate's manager after the game because we were in the clubhouse and Simon Thorne introduced me to him. So if you want to go and watch a bit more Parkgate and Rotherham Women's, go and subscribe to Simon's YouTube channel back in the New York Groove. But I was speaking to Parkgate's gaffer and he said Rotherham are such a different team to last season. He says it were a lot more intense for us this time around. And, you know, Parkgate had a good season last season, but he's picked up on how progressive Rotherham are playing at the minute. And he reckons Rotherham will do well if we keep at that tactic of, you know, being quite intense and making runs forward and balls out wide and into the box and all that sort of thing. He reckons we will do very well. So I'm quite confident after watching that. I mean, like you say, it's Rotherham against Parkgate. It's effectively a training game, opening to training game. But at the same time, Parkgate have done this for years and their manager's done it for a fair amount of time as well. So if he's confident about the way Rotherham are playing, I'm confident as well. And, you know, you don't score 7 goals by mistake. Like this time last year, we only scored 2. You know,
terrible again last year.
But he says we are a lot better this time around. So I'm quite happy with how we played. Very happy.
Yeah. Shall I ask about injuries to Clark, Harris, McWilliams, and there were a few others? I think Steve Evans says there was no injuries. Clark Harris had a really heavy session, I think he said, on Friday. I don't know why he had a heavier session than anybody else. But that's what Steve Evans said post-match. I don't think there's any issues there. But Evans might not tell us if there was, to be honest, which is fair enough in terms of injuries. Talk about captains, Danny, because I noticed that Teehee was wearing the captain's armband in the picture in the second half. I mean, it's interesting that this guy wants to leave and don't want to be here. Steve Evans trusts him to be captain.
Somebody else, surely.
Yeah, but well, yeah, I think it's just Tahi appears to be backup captain now.
Who was in first half?
Rathbone.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So so it's been wrestled off Hugo, which is nice to see. But you know he must trust Rathbone to some extent to give him the armband in the first half. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see who is announced as club captain when we get the official post out. But I'd be very happy if it is Rathbone, to be fair. Yeah. And fairly okay with Tahi because he's, you know, he can distribute it and manage the game in midfield. But out of all the characters we've got in the team, very happy with Rathbone.
Yeah,
Steve Evans kind of player, Ollie Rathbone, isn't he?
Say again, sorry.
He's a Steve Evans kind of player, Ollie Rathbone. All blood and thunder.
Yeah, big time. Richard says Hugo was awful, Coyote was good, Powell was excellent, Jules looks frightening, Reece James was okay. As you mentioned, only 45 minutes for all the main guys. Drawing Dom says, who do you think impressed most of all the signings, Danny? Who was new boy who looked the best in 45 minutes?
That's a very good question. I would say Kelly had a really good game as the CDM. Nothing daft, but you know it looks solid. Zach Jules came on. He's a monster of a defender. You know, he's just solid. He's like a brick outhouse, to be fair. I'm trying to think of other signings. McDonald looked okay. I can sort of see why Evans has signed him, but you know that was a very steady game for him. But I'll say I'm more impressed with Kelly in terms of new signings that we saw a fair bit of. Rafferty as well. Like Kelly Bob says, Rafferty was very good as well. And he's the one that sort of said to me that we're playing with fullbacks a bit higher up than a flat back four, because Rafferty was up and down the right-hand side every single time, and then Bramall did it in the second half. And it was just good to see that we've got progressive fullbacks now. They're not quite wing-backs, I don't think. I don't think they're that that way orientated, but definitely higher than the centre backs. That's for sure.
Interesting. We ain't got another public game for another couple of weeks now. 19th is the next scheduled game, which I think is the Stamford game, and then in Spalding, Alfreton, Sheffield United, Grimsby, then Donny. So yeah, just under a month away now. 10th of August we get kicked off, don't we? So just under a month until the season kicks off. Maybe another signing this week potentially. Steve Evans just tottled it up. It may or may not come through, so we'll see what happens with that one over the next week. Anything else we need to mention?
Do we know if we got the behind closed door game against Celtic?
No, nothing's been confirmed, and they tend not to announce those things. To be fair, it'll just be Paul Davis will put an article out about it that it's been told by a source, something like that. Which is obviously. I
know we've definitely got one against Cove Rangers because we're at their training ground, aren't we? Which is like a world-class facility, apparently. Did you get the name drop that Evans did in his chat about that? He dropped saying, "Oh, the next team in after us is Borussia Dortmund."
Oh, brilliant!
You know, and Ferguson took his Man United teams up there, and Moyes took his teams up there. It's just like, okay, you know. What we're trying to say, make sure we leave the dressing room nice and clean for the Germans to come in.
Yeah. Now you're getting it, darling. Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Ben, anything else you want to mention?
No, I ain't got anything.
Cool. Thanks for being with us. We will be back on Thursday. We're back on Thursday, which will be then a review. We'll talk about the England game, win or lose, in the semi-final. And obviously the final, if we're in it, we'll talk about the final either way. If there are any Rotherham signs, we'll also pick that up as well on Thursday. I think it's unlikely there will be, but you never know. We'll still see. Please make sure you have subscribed on YouTube if you haven't already. That's gradually creeping up on there. If you haven't done so already, make sure you follow us on X and Facebook, wherever you get your social media stuff. And if you're on iTunes or Spotify, please do follow us and 5-star rating where it allows you to do there. As the IUFC put out, we have got the new intro. We haven't been able to get it into the software just yet.
Get into the software.
I know.
That's a very strange nickname for that, Mick. You're calling him software.
I've never been called software before.
I was trying to save you, but I was trying to defend you there, Mick.
Listen, look at you lot, and then you give the IT work to 𝐁𝐞𝐬𝐭 𝐂𝐥𝐮𝐻. What is wrong with you?
You've got more spare time than us. Or
Why have I got more spare time?
You've got no kids to look after.
I mean, neither do I, to be fair. But
I think Mick's definitely got the most spare time, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, we will endeavour to have it up for the next episode on Thursday. If Mick can work out which button to press in right order.
I'm not doing it. Not after the RUFC has done what he's done to me.
So yeah, back on Thursday. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Ben. It's a pleasure as always. We'll see you Thursday, and it's coming home.
Oh, don't. You jinxed it now.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box to Duffy, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.